Rico was a name that made the streets tremble. A killer with no remorse. His hands were stained with blood, and his heart was cold as steel. No love, no fear, no God, only survival. One stormy night, Rico found himself in an abandoned warehouse, breathing heavily, gun smoking in his hand. Another man had fallen, another name scratched off his list. But as he wiped the blood off his hands, a voice echoed through the darkness. "Is that all you are?" Rico spun around, gun raised. No one was there. Then, from the shadows, an old man stepped forward. His eyes burned with something Rico couldn't place. Power, wisdom, mercy. "Who are you?" Rico growled. The old man smiled. "I'm here to deliver a message from someone who hasn't given up on you." Rico laughed. "God? If he was real, he wouldn't let me exist." The old man stepped closer. "Maybe he's letting you live, because your story isn't over yet." Something in Rico's chest tightened. For the first time, he felt weak. He had outrun bullets, outlived rivals, but he had never outrun guilt. "You think God can save me?" he scoffed. The old man's eyes darkened. "I think he already has." At that moment, the wind howled through the warehouse, slamming the doors shut. Rico's body froze, not from fear, but from something else, something holy. Suddenly, he saw flashes, the faces of those he had killed, the cries of mothers, the blood that would never wash off. The weight of his sins crushed him, pushing him to his knees. His hands trembled as the old man knelt beside him. "You've taken so many lives, Rico, but tonight, you have one last choice. Take another life, or let God save yours." Tears burned in Rico's eyes. He had spent years killing his conscience, but now it screamed inside him. He looked at his gun. The same gun that had stolen lives could now end his own. His finger hovered over the trigger, but then, a whisper. "I have already paid for your sins." The voice wasn't the old man's. It wasn't his own. It was him. The gun slipped from his fingers, clattering to the floor. At that moment, the storm outside stilled. The warehouse felt lighter. The darkness was gone. Rico lifted his eyes. The old man was smiling. "Welcome home, son." That night, Rico left his past behind. The streets that once feared him now heard a new voice, one that saved instead of killed. And though he had once been a man of death, now he was a warrior for the kingdom. All Rico knew was this: he had been given one last chance, and this time, he took it.